I bought a beach house, and my son called me saying, I'm coming with 30 people. So I prepared everything perfectly for their arrival. But when they got there, they were shocked to see what I had done. But before we continue, tell me what city you're listening from. I love knowing where my story has reached, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Now take a deep breath and stay with me. My name is Henry Rodriguez. I'm 68 years old, and I've been dreaming of owning a beach house since I was a young man working double shifts at the construction company. For 45 years, I saved every penny I could. While my friends bought expensive cars and took fancy vacations, I drove the same old pickup truck and spent my weekends at home. My late wife Maria used to say, "Henry, you're obsessed with that beach house dream." "One day, mi amor," I would tell her. "One day we'll have our little piece of paradise." Maria passed away 3 years ago from cancer, and I promised her on her deathbed that I would finally buy that beach house we had talked about for decades. Last month, I finally did it. I found a beautiful 3-bedroom house just 50 yards from the ocean in Myrtle Beach. It cost me $380,000, nearly my entire life savings, but it was perfect. White walls, blue shutters, a wraparound porch, and the sound of waves right outside the window. I was so excited that I called my son Roberto immediately. "Roberto, guess what? I finally bought the beach house." "Dad, that's great," he said, but his voice sounded distracted. "How much did it cost?" $380,000. Can you believe it? After all these years, I finally have my dream home. "Wow, that's a lot of money, Dad." I thought he would be happier for me. After all, this was something I had talked about his entire life. "I was thinking," I continued, "maybe you and Carmen and the kids could come visit next weekend. We could have a family barbecue, watch the sunset." "Yeah, maybe. I'll talk to Carmen and let you know." That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, Roberto had visited exactly 0 times. But yesterday, everything changed. I was sitting on my new porch, drinking my morning coffee and watching the waves, when my phone rang. "Dad, it's Roberto. Good news. We want to come visit the beach house this weekend." My heart jumped with joy. "Really? That's wonderful. When do you want to come?" "Well, here's the thing. Carmen's family is having a reunion, and we told them about your beach house. They're all super excited to see it." "Carmen's family? How many people are we talking about?" "Oh, not too many. Maybe 30 people." I almost dropped my phone. 30 people, Roberto." "Yeah, it'll be fun. Like a big family party. You have 3 bedrooms, right? And probably some couches? We can make it work." "Roberto, this house isn't set up for 30 people. Where would everyone sleep? Where would everyone eat?" "Come on, Dad. You finally have this big, fancy beach house. What's the point if we can't all enjoy it together?" I felt a knot forming in my stomach. This wasn't a family visit. This was Carmen's family wanting a free beach vacation. "Son, I don't think—" "Dad, Carmen already told everyone they could come. Her parents, her brothers and sisters, their kids, her cousins. They're driving from 3 different states. We can't cancel now." "Roberto, you should have asked me first. I thought you'd be happy to share it with family." Family. Carmen's family, who had never spoken to me until they heard about the beach house. "When are you planning to arrive?" "Tomorrow around noon. Don't worry about food. We'll figure something out when we get there." "Don't worry about food? For 30 people?" "Roberto, I need to prepare for this many people. I need to buy groceries, clean the house, make sure there are enough towels." "Dad, relax. It's just family. We don't need anything fancy." Just family. Carmen's family, who I barely knew. After I hung up, I sat on my porch for a long time, watching the waves and thinking about what Roberto had just done to me. This beach house was my dream, Maria's dream. It represented 45 years of sacrifice, of choosing to save instead of spend, of believing that someday I would have something beautiful that was mine. And now, 2 weeks after buying it, my son was treating it like a free hotel for his wife's family reunion. But as I sat there, watching the sunset Maria and I had dreamed of watching together, I made a decision. If Roberto wanted to bring 30 people to my beach house without asking properly, without considering my feelings, without respecting what this place meant to me, then I would give him exactly what he was asking for. I would prepare everything perfectly for their arrival, but not in the way he expected. I spent the rest of the evening making phone calls and arrangements. By midnight, everything was set. Roberto and Carmen's family were going to get the beach house experience they deserved, and I was going to get the respect I should have had all along. The next morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. and started executing my plan. First, I called my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, who lived in the house next door. "Mrs. Patterson, this is Henry from next door. I have a favor to ask." "Of course, dear. What do you need?" "My son is bringing 30 people to my house today without asking permission. They're treating my beach house like a free hotel. Could you help me teach them a lesson about respect?" Mrs. Patterson had been watching the neighborhood for 20 years. She understood exactly what I meant. "Henry, I've been waiting for someone to stand up to entitled people like that." "What do you need me to do?" "Just call the police around 2 p.m. and report a noise complaint. Say there are too many cars parked illegally and too many people in a residential area. Consider it done. These beach communities have strict occupancy rules anyway." Next, I called the city's code enforcement office. "Hello? I'd like to report a potential violation of occupancy limits at 847 Ocean Drive. There will be approximately 30 people staying in a 3-bedroom house, which violates the maximum occupancy ordinance." "Sir, the maximum legal occupancy for a 3-bedroom house is 8 people. If there are 30 people, that's a serious violation. We'll send an inspector." "Thank you." Then I called my insurance agent. "Bob, this is Henry Rodriguez. I need to ask about my homeowner's policy. If I have 30 uninvited guests and something gets damaged, am I covered?" "Henry, your policy covers family visits, but 30 people? That sounds like you're running an unlicensed hotel. If anything happens, the insurance company could deny your claim." "So what should I do?" "Document everything, take photos, and, honestly, you might want to ask them to leave before something goes wrong." Perfect. At 10 a.m., I drove to the grocery store and bought exactly enough food for 8 people, the legal occupancy limit. 2 packages of hot dogs, 1 bag of chips, 1 case of soda. I also stopped at the hardware store and bought a large sign. When I got home, I set up the sign in my front yard. Maximum occupancy. 8 people. City ordinance enforced. At 11:30 a.m., I called Roberto. "Son, I just want to confirm. You're still bringing 30 people to my house?" "Yes, Dad. We're about 30 minutes away. I hope you're ready for a fun weekend." "Oh, I'm ready. I've prepared everything perfectly." "Great. See you soon." At exactly noon, I watched from my window as a caravan of 5 cars pulled into my driveway. Car doors started slamming, and people began pouring out like clowns from a circus car. I counted them as they walked toward my house. 32 people. Roberto knocked on my door with a huge smile. "Dad, we made it!" Behind him stood Carmen, her parents, her 3 brothers and their wives, their children, her cousins, and people I had never seen before in my life. "Welcome to my beach house," I said calmly. "Please, everyone come in." They flooded into my living room, talking loudly, dropping bags everywhere, already making themselves at home. Carmen's mother, a large woman named Rosa, looked around and said, "Henry, this place is smaller than Roberto described." "It's a 3-bedroom house, Rosa. Exactly what I told Roberto." "Where is everyone going to sleep?" asked Carmen's brother Miguel. "That's a very good question," I replied. "According to city ordinance, only 8 people are legally allowed to stay in this house overnight." The room went quiet. "What do you mean?" Roberto asked. "I mean that having 32 people in a 3-bedroom house violates multiple city codes, occupancy limits, parking restrictions, and noise ordinances." Carmen stepped forward. "Henry, you can't be serious. We drove here from 3 different states." "I'm very serious, Carmen. I've already reported the violation to code enforcement." "You what?" Roberto's face turned red. "I reported my own house for overcrowding. An inspector is coming this afternoon." "Dad, why would you do that?" "Because, Roberto, you brought 32 people to my house without asking permission, without considering the legal implications, and without respecting what this place means to me." Rosa crossed her arms. "So what are we supposed to do now?" "Well, 8 of you can stay legally. The other 24 need to find hotels." "Hotels?" Miguel laughed. "Do you know how much hotels cost at the beach in summer?" "About $200 per night," I said, "which is why people usually ask before inviting themselves to someone's beach house." Carmen's father, Carlos, stepped forward. "Henry, we're family. You can't treat family like this." "Carlos, we've met exactly twice. At Roberto's wedding and at my wife's funeral. You're not my family. You're my son's in-laws who wanted a free beach vacation." The room erupted in angry Spanish conversations that I couldn't follow, but I understood the tone perfectly. Roberto pulled me aside. "Dad, you're embarrassing me in front of Carmen's family." "Roberto, you embarrassed yourself when you brought 32 people to my house without permission. Can't you just let this slide? Just this once?" "Son, I spent 45 years saving for this house. Your mother and I dreamed about it together. She died before she could see it. And you're treating it like a free campground. It's just for the weekend." "It's not about the weekend, Roberto. It's about respect." At that moment, Mrs. Patterson appeared at my door. "Excuse me," she said loudly. "I'm calling the police about the noise and the illegal parking. There are cars blocking the fire lane." Right on schedule. Roberto looked at me with panic in his eyes. "Dad, please tell her it's okay." I looked at my son, then at the 32 people who had invaded my dream house without permission. "Mrs. Patterson," I said clearly, "please make the call." 20 minutes later, 2 police cars pulled up to my house. Officer Johnson and Officer Martinez walked up to my front door, while 32 people watched nervously from my living room. "Good afternoon, sir. We received a complaint about overcrowding and illegal parking. Are you the homeowner?" "Yes, I am. Henry Rodriguez. And I'm the one who reported the violations." Roberto's jaw dropped. "Dad, you called the police on your own family?" "I called the police on people who are violating city ordinances in my house." Officer Johnson looked at the crowd inside. "Sir, how many people are currently in this residence?" 32. "And this is a 3-bedroom house?" "That's correct." Officer Martinez pulled out his citation book. "The maximum legal occupancy for overnight stays in a 3-bedroom house is 8 people. You're currently at 400% over the limit." Carmen's mother, Rosa, pushed forward. "Officer, this is ridiculous. We're family visiting for the weekend." "Ma'am, I understand, but city ordinances apply to everyone. The fine for overcrowding violations starts at $500 per day. $500? Miguel gasped. Per day, Officer Johnson repeated. And that's just the overcrowding violation. We also have illegal parking in a fire lane, which is another $200 per vehicle. I counted the cars in my driveway. Officer, there are 5 cars parked illegally. That's an additional $1,000 in fines. Roberto looked like he was about to faint. Dad, please, just tell them this is a misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding, Roberto. You brought 32 people to my house without permission, and now you're facing $1,500 in fines. Per day. Carmen stepped forward, tears in her eyes. Henry, we didn't know about these rules. Carmen, ignorance of the law isn't a defense. And more importantly, you didn't ask permission before bringing your entire extended family to my house. Officer Martinez looked at his watch. Folks, it's 1:30 p.m. You have until 3 p.m. to reduce the occupancy to 8 people, or we'll have to issue citations. Where are we supposed to go? Asked Carmen's brother Luis. There are several hotels about 10 minutes from here, Officer Johnson said helpfully. Do you know how much those hotels cost? Rosa demanded. That's not really our concern, ma'am. Our concern is enforcing city ordinances. After the police left, the house erupted in chaos. Carmen's family started yelling at Roberto in Spanish. I caught words like estupido and embarrassing and your father is crazy. Roberto pulled me into the kitchen. Dad, you're humiliating me. Carmen's family thinks I'm an idiot. You are an idiot, Roberto. You brought 32 people to someone else's house without asking permission. But it's your house. You're my father. Being your father doesn't mean you can disrespect me and my property. What do you want me to do? Send them all home? I want you to figure out how to accommodate 24 people in hotels, or send them home. Either way, only 8 people can stay here legally. Dad, that's going to cost thousands of dollars. Roberto, that's not my problem. You created this situation. Carmen came into the kitchen crying. Henry, please. My family drove 8 hours to get here. My parents are elderly. They can't drive back today. Carmen, your parents can stay. That's 2 people. Roberto, you, and your 2 kids make 5. You can choose 3 more people. The rest need to leave. You're going to break up our family? I'm enforcing the law in my own house. This is cruel. What's cruel is bringing 32 people to someone's house without asking, then acting like I'm the villain for following the law. For the next hour, I watched Carmen's family argue about who would stay and who would have to find hotels. Rosa was furious. I can't believe Henry is doing this to us. Carlos shook his head. We should have stayed home. Miguel was on his phone trying to find hotel rooms. Everything's booked or costs $300 a night. Luis threw his hands up. This is a disaster. Meanwhile, I sat on my porch, drinking a beer and watching the drama unfold. At 2:45 p.m., Roberto came outside. Dad, we've decided. Carmen's parents, Carmen, me, and the kids will stay. Everyone else is going to drive to a hotel 30 minutes inland where rooms are cheaper. That sounds reasonable. 24 people are leaving angry, Dad. Carmen's family thinks you hate them. Roberto, I don't hate them. But I don't owe them a free beach vacation either. They'll never forgive you for this. Good. Maybe next time they'll ask permission before inviting themselves somewhere. What about our relationship? You've ruined my marriage. Roberto, I've ruined nothing. You ruined your marriage when you promised your in-laws something that wasn't yours to give. At 3 p.m. sharp, I watched 24 angry people pack their cars and drive away. Carmen was crying. Roberto looked defeated, and I was sitting in my dream house with exactly the number of people who were legally allowed to be there. But the biggest surprise was still coming. That evening, as the remaining 8 people sat awkwardly in my living room, my phone rang. It was my lawyer. "Henry, I have some interesting news about your beach house purchase." "What kind of news?" I asked my lawyer, stepping outside so Roberto couldn't hear. "Henry, do you remember when you bought the house, there was a clause about mineral rights and potential development?" "Vaguely. There was so much paperwork." "Well, the state just approved a major coastal development project. Your property is sitting on land that's now worth significantly more than what you paid." "How much more?" "Henry, sit down. A development company wants to buy your house for $1.2 million. I nearly dropped the phone. $1.2 million? I just paid $380,000. The company needs your exact lot for a luxury resort project. They're offering triple what you paid, and you'd have the option to buy a unit in the new resort at a 50% discount. When do they need an answer?" "They want to close within 30 days. But Henry, there's something else." "What?" "Apparently, your son Roberto called our office 3 weeks ago asking about your property purchase. He wanted to know if he was listed as a beneficiary or co-owner." My blood went cold. "What did you tell him?" "Nothing. Client confidentiality. But it's interesting timing, don't you think? He calls asking about your property, then suddenly wants to bring 32 people for a family reunion at your beach house." I looked through my window at Roberto, who was sitting sullenly on my couch while Carmen cried next to him. "You think he knew about the development?" "I think it's possible. The development plans were announced in the local newspaper 3 weeks ago, the same week Roberto called our office. So Roberto might have known this house was about to be worth over $1 million when he decided to bring Carmen's entire family here? It's possible he was trying to establish some kind of claim to the property, having witnesses to family use of the house, getting people to think of it as a family property rather than just your property." I hung up and stood on my porch for a long time, thinking. Roberto had never shown interest in my beach house dream. For 45 years, he'd rolled his eyes when I talked about it. When I finally bought it, he barely congratulated me. But suddenly, 3 weeks after development plans were announced, he wanted to bring 32 people here for a family reunion? I walked back inside. Roberto looked up hopefully. "Dad, was that the lawyer? Are you going to tell the police this was all a misunderstanding?" "Roberto, can I ask you something?" "Sure. 3 weeks ago, did you call my lawyer asking about my beach house purchase?" Roberto's face went white. What do you mean? "Did you call my lawyer asking if you were listed as a co-owner of this property?" Carmen looked at Roberto with confusion. "What's he talking about?" "Roberto, did you know about the coastal development project before you decided to bring 32 people to my house?" "Dad, I don't know what you're talking about." "The development project that was announced in the newspaper 3 weeks ago, the same week you called my lawyer. The project that makes this house worth $1.2 million. Carmen gasped. $1.2 million? Roberto stood up quickly. "Dad, let me explain." "Explain what?" "That you found out my house was worth a fortune and decided to bring witnesses to establish some kind of family claim to it? It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Roberto?" Carmen was staring at her husband. "Roberto, did you know this house was worth that much money?" "Carmen, please." "Answer her, Roberto," I said firmly. I might have heard something about development in the area." "You might have heard something?" Carmen's voice was getting higher. "Roberto, did you bring my entire family here because you thought you could get part of this house?" Carmen, it's not that simple. Oh my God! Carmen started crying harder. You embarrassed my family because you were trying to steal your father's house. I wasn't trying to steal anything. Then why didn't you tell me the house was worth over $1 million? Because I knew you'd react like this. I sat down in my chair, watching my son's marriage fall apart in real time. Roberto, I said quietly, how long have you known about the development? 3 weeks. And when did you decide to bring Carmen's family here? 3 weeks ago. So the same day you found out my house was worth a fortune, you decided to bring 32 people here without asking permission. Dad, I was going to tell you about the development. When? After you established that this was a family house that everyone used? Carmen stood up. I'm taking the kids to the hotel with my parents. I can't look at you right now. Carmen, wait. No, Roberto. You used my family. You embarrassed them. You made them drive 8 hours so you could try to steal from your own father. Carmen grabbed their 2 children and headed for the door. Mom, where are we going? Asked their 10-year-old daughter, Sophia. To Grandma and Grandpa's hotel room, mija. After they left, Roberto and I sat alone in my living room. Dad, I'm sorry. Are you sorry you tried to manipulate me, or sorry you got caught? I wasn't trying to manipulate you. Roberto, what was your plan? Bring 32 people here. Take lots of photos. Establish that this was the family beach house. Then pressure me to put you on the deed? Roberto didn't answer. And when I died, you'd argue that the house had always been family property, because look at all these witnesses who'd used it. Dad, please. Roberto, get out of my house. Dad, I have nowhere to go. Carmen won't talk to me, and I can't afford a hotel. You should have thought about that before you tried to steal my house. I'm your son. My son died 3 weeks ago when he decided greed was more important than family. I opened my front door and held it open. Roberto walked out into the night, and I locked the door behind him. For the first time since buying my dream house, I was finally alone with the sound of the ocean waves. But I wasn't done with Roberto yet. The next morning, I called my lawyer back. I want to accept the $1.2 million offer, but with one condition. What's that, Henry? I want Roberto to know about the sale before anyone else, and I want him to know exactly what he lost. That's unusual, but I can arrange it. At 10 a.m., Roberto appeared at my door looking terrible. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair was a mess, and he had dark circles under his eyes. Dad, I slept in my car. Can we please talk? Where's Carmen? She's still at the hotel with her parents. She won't answer my calls. Come in. We need to discuss your future. Roberto sat down hopefully. Dad, I know I messed up, but maybe we can work something out. Roberto, I'm selling the house. What? Why? Because someone offered me $1.2 million for it. Roberto's face went through several emotions. Shock, calculation, then desperate hope. Dad, that's incredible. We could split the profit and… We? Well, I mean, you could help me save my marriage. Carmen would forgive me if she knew I was going to inherit part of… Roberto, you're not inheriting anything. What do you mean? I pulled out the sales contract. I'm selling the house for $1.2 million. After paying off the $380,000 mortgage and taxes, I'll net about $750,000. That's amazing, Dad. I'm donating the entire amount to charity. The color drained from Roberto's face. You're what? I'm donating $750,000 to the Children's Cancer Research Foundation, in your mother's memory. Dad, you can't be serious. I'm completely serious. The foundation fights the same cancer that killed your mother. Maria would want this money to help other families. But Dad, that's $750,000. Roberto, did you think I was going to give you money after you tried to steal my house? I wasn't trying to steal it. You brought 32 witnesses to establish family claim to property worth over $1 million. That's attempted theft. Roberto started crying. Dad, please. Carmen is going to divorce me. I'll lose my kids. I need this money to save my family. You lost your family when you chose greed over honesty. I'll do anything. I'll get counseling. I'll change. Roberto, it's too late. Dad, please, I'm begging you. The papers are already signed. The sale closes in 2 weeks. Roberto collapsed onto my couch. My life is over. Your life could start over if you learned how to be honest. How can I start over with nothing? The same way I started over when your mother died. The same way I saved for 45 years to buy this house, with hard work and integrity. But you had money? Roberto, I gave you a college education, helped you start your business, and co-signed your first house. You've had every advantage I never had. That's different. How is it different? You worked for everything you had. And you can, too. That afternoon, Roberto drove back to the hotel to face Carmen and her family. According to Carmen's mother, Rosa, who called me later, it didn't go well. Henry, Rosa said, I owe you an apology. We thought you were mean for kicking us out. Now we know Roberto lied to us about everything. What did he tell you? He told us you owned multiple beach properties and you were just being selfish. He said this was a family house that everyone could use. And now? Now Carmen wants a divorce. She's humiliated. Her whole family knows Roberto tried to steal from you using us as cover. I'm sorry you got caught up in this, Rosa. Henry, you did the right thing. Roberto needed to learn this lesson. 2 weeks later, the sale was finalized. I handed over the keys to my dream house and walked away with a check for $750,000. I drove straight to the Children's Cancer Research Foundation and handed them the check. Mr. Rodriguez, the director said, this is the largest single donation we've ever received. Are you sure about this? I'm positive. My wife Maria died of cancer 3 years ago. This is what she would have wanted. We'll name our new research wing after her. The Maria Rodriguez Wing. She would have loved that. That evening, I called Roberto one last time. Roberto, the house is sold. The money is donated. It's done. Dad, you've destroyed my life. No, Roberto. You destroyed your own life. I just refused to let you destroy mine, too. I'll never forgive you for this. Roberto, someday you might understand that losing $750,000 taught you something worth more than money. What's that? That your father's love can't be stolen, manipulated, or inherited. It has to be earned. I hung up and looked around my small apartment near the beach. It wasn't the dream house Maria and I had planned, but it was honest, and for the first time in weeks, that felt like enough. But Roberto wasn't done trying to get his hands on my money. 3 months after selling the house, I received a call from my lawyer. Henry, your son is trying to sue you. Sue me for what? He claims you suffered from dementia when you sold the house and donated the money. He wants to have the sale declared invalid. I laughed. Dementia? I orchestrated the perfect legal response to his attempted theft. That's what I told his lawyer. Roberto is claiming you were not of sound mind because no rational person would donate $750,000. What do I need to do? Nothing. I have recordings of all our conversations. You were completely lucid and strategic. Plus, The medical exam you took before the sale shows perfect mental health. 2 weeks later, Roberto's lawsuit was dismissed. The judge said that donating money to charity was evidence of good character, not mental incompetence. But Roberto still wasn't finished. Last month, he showed up at my apartment. "Dad, Carmen divorced me. I lost the house. I lost my business. I have nothing. Roberto, I'm sorry your life fell apart, but you built it on lies. I need help. I'm your son." My son would never have tried to steal from his father. "Dad, please, just enough money to get back on my feet." "Roberto, I don't have money to give you. I live on Social Security and Maria's small pension." "But you could get money. People would donate to you if you told them what happened." "I'm not going to exploit my story for money." "Why not? You could write a book, do interviews. People love stories like this." I stared at my son. Even after losing everything, he was still looking for ways to profit from other people's money. "Roberto, leave, and don't come back." "Dad, leave now, or I'll call the police." That was 6 months ago. I haven't heard from Roberto since. Carmen sends me photos of my grandchildren occasionally. They're doing well living with her parents. They ask about me sometimes, and Carmen tells them Grandpa Henry loves them, but needs space from their father. The Maria Rodriguez Wing at the Children's Cancer Research Foundation opened last month. I attended the ceremony. They've already started 3 new research projects with the donation money. "Mr. Rodriguez," the director told me, "your wife's legacy is going to save lives. She always wanted to help children. This would make her so happy." Today, I live in a small apartment 2 blocks from the beach. I walk on the sand every morning and think about Maria. I have enough money for my needs, and I have peace. Sometimes people ask me if I regret giving away $750,000. "Not for 1 second, I tell them. "But that was your life savings." No, my life savings was the 45 years I spent working honestly and loving my family. The money was just numbers on paper. Don't you miss the beach house? I miss the dream Maria and I shared. But I don't miss being manipulated by people who saw dollar signs instead of a father. Roberto teaches classes now at a community college. According to mutual friends, he tells people his father stole his inheritance by donating it to charity. He still doesn't understand that you can't steal something that was never yours. Last week, I received a letter from my granddaughter Sophia. She's 12 now. "Dear Grandpa Henry, Mom told me you gave away lots of money to help sick kids. That was really nice. Dad says you were mean, but I think you were brave. I want to be like you when I grow up. Love, Sophia." I cried reading that letter. You see, some people think family means you owe them something just because you share blood. But real family means you protect what matters. You stand up for what's right, and you teach the next generation that integrity is worth more than money. Roberto lost $750,000 because he forgot that lesson. I gained peace because I remembered it. My name is Henry Rodriguez, and this is what happens when you try to steal a dream from someone who spent 45 years building it. Comment below. Would you have donated the money or given it to your son? And remember, respect isn't inherited. It's earned.